Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
Training camp is finally here, and while everybody in this fan base is losing their minds over the quarterback's revenge season and this brand new, completely rebuilt defense, there's a smaller story bubbling under the surface that almost nobody is paying attention to. 3 names on this roster that you have either written off, forgotten about, or just never gave a real chance to prove themselves. And today, I'm making the case for all 3 of them. By the end of this video, I want you to walk away seeing these guys completely differently, because once you hear what I found digging into the numbers, I think you're going to be just as surprised as I was. Let's set the stage here for a second. Rookies are reporting to the building this week, veterans follow shortly after, and just like that, the dead period of the offseason is officially behind us. No more speculation, no more what if, just actual football being played on an actual field again. And in that spirit, instead of piling on to the 2 biggest storylines everybody's already covering to death, I wanted to zoom in on the role players. The names buried on the depth chart that could quietly end up mattering a whole lot more than people expect once the lights come on in September. So let's start with the first name, and honestly, the one that surprised me the most when I actually sat down and pulled the numbers, the rookie running back out of Penn State. Now here's my honest best guess at how this kid ends up contributing early in his career, and it's not going to be the flashy home run breakaway speed role. It's going to be in the red zone in the tightest, most physical real estate on the entire football field. And here's why I say that with some confidence. I went back and looked at how this offense has actually performed in the red zone over the last 2 seasons, and I was stunned by what I found. 2 years running, this team ran the football at the 2nd highest frequency of any team in the entire NFL once they crossed into the red zone. Not just top 5, 2nd overall, both seasons. And they weren't doing it just to prove some old-school toughness point either. They were doing it because it worked. Look at red zone touchdown percentage, meaning once a drive actually got down into scoring territory, how often did it actually end in 6 points? And this offense ranked in the top 6 league-wide in both of those seasons. That completely rewired how I think about this coaching staff, because my gut memory of watching this team was always the opposite. I've got this vivid mental picture of them getting down to the 5-yard line and suddenly deciding it's time to start airing the ball out, and you're sitting there yelling at your television wondering what in the world they're doing. Turns out, that memory was wrong, or at least badly overblown, and the offensive coordinator deserves some genuine credit here, because the tape and the numbers back it up. He was committed to the run in the red zone, and more importantly, he was efficient with it. Why does this matter for a rookie running back specifically? Because the new play caller running this offense has been very open about his coaching philosophy, describing it almost like a recipe, pulling ingredients from every stop of his career. Some pieces borrowed from Kevin O'Connell's playbook, some from Ben Johnson's system, and a real willingness to lean on that same run-committed, red zone efficient approach that worked so well the last 2 seasons. If that philosophy holds up, this offense is set up to be dangerous in exactly the area of the field where games are actually decided. So how does the rookie fit into all this? Everybody around this building keeps repeating the phrase that every player has a superpower. If this kid has one, it's fighting through contact in the tightest spaces on the field, keeping his legs churning and squeezing out positive yardage in situations where there's clearly no room to be found. Now, to be completely fair here, he does not have elite long speed. It's honestly a strange contradiction. His feet are incredible working through a crowded hole, but once he breaks into open space, he's not suddenly turning into a track star. That very issue is exactly why he fell all the way to the 6th round of the draft, despite outproducing his own teammate at Penn State. A kid who was a 5-star recruit in high school and went off the board a full round earlier. This kid was nowhere close to a 5-star coming out of high school. But here's the thing about measurables versus production. At the combine, in what people love to call the underwear Olympics, Teams fall in love with size and speed on paper. This front office looked at that same event and said, no thanks, we want the production, and went and got him instead. And when you actually dig into that production, it's not close. He finished as the all-time leading rusher in Penn State history. But my favorite stat, the one that really tells the story, is yards after contact per carry. Strip away the blocking, strip away the scheme, and just ask, once a defender actually got a hand on you, what did you create on your own? Last season, this kid averaged just under 4 yards after contact per carry. That's an elite number. That tells you everything about what kind of load this offense could put on his shoulders inside that 10-yard line. Picture it with me for a second. The quarterback under center, the fullback doing his job lined up in the backfield, and this offense just pounding the rock between the tackles quarter after quarter, wearing a defense down. Then, by the time you get to the fourth quarter, the game on the line, you dial up a quarterback bootleg off all that run action, or you get the number one receiver isolated one-on-one on the backside. That's the payoff for staying committed early, and this rookie is exactly the kind of piece who makes that early game physicality possible. The other backs on this roster can do some of that dirty work too, but it's not really their calling card the same way, and one of them in particular dealt with nagging durability issues all last season, constantly popping up on the injury report even when he never actually missed a game. Take some of that physical punishment off his plate, let the rookie absorb those brutal bruising touches, and then bring the veteran in to finish off drives and break the game open. That's how you build a genuinely dangerous, cohesive rushing attack. There's a longer runway here too. Plenty of people think this kid eventually becomes a full-blown committee back, but in year one, this red zone role right here is where I expect him to make his first real mark. And by his own admission, he's already counting down the days until the pads come on. Because he is not built for shorts and t-shirts, he's built for contact. Now let's move on to player number 2. A veteran defensive lineman who's flying almost completely under the radar right now, and honestly, that might not last much longer. There was a podcast interview that came out recently, and after listening to the whole thing, I walked away thinking, does this guy sound motivated or what? And when you look at the situation he's stepping into, that motivation makes total sense. He's made it clear that he's going to be playing primarily on the interior in this new scheme, which suggests a heavy dose of 4 technique and 5 technique alignments with some 3 technique work mixed in on obvious passing downs. Here's what makes that genuinely interesting, though. According to the metrics, he hasn't actually spent more time lined up on the interior than he has on the edge since his first 2 seasons in the league, all the way back when he was a young player with the Houston Texans. After that stretch, he bounced to San Francisco and then Kansas City. And in both of those stops, he was much more of a hybrid piece, flexing all over the front rather than sitting exclusively inside. But listen to how he described this new coaching staff. He said more than once that he genuinely appreciates how transparent the head coach and the new defensive coordinator have been with him about exactly where he'll be lining up. No guessing, no ambiguity, just a clear runway that let him focus his entire offseason preparation on one specific job instead of trying to stay ready for 5 different alignments. That clarity alone can be the difference between a guy playing fast and instinctive versus a guy playing hesitant and overthinking every snap. Now, he's not exactly a household name, but don't let that fool you, because he was playing at a genuinely high level not that long ago, capping his final season on the West Coast with strong across-the-board numbers, then following it up with a career-high sack total the year after in limited games. Right in the middle of that stretch, disaster struck. A torn ankle that derailed his momentum completely. In his own words, that injury was devastating because he felt like he was playing the best football of his entire life right before it happened. But here's the encouraging part. He says he's finally back. Full strength, full confidence in the knee, lower body power all the way restored to where it was before the injury ever happened. There are a few real reasons to buy into this veteran making a genuine impact in this new look defense. First, the championship pedigree and winning culture he's bringing over from one of the league's true powerhouse organizations speaks for itself. No introduction necessary. Second, the positional versatility, the ability to bounce between multiple techniques across the front. Even the occasional look as a stand-up edge rusher fits perfectly into a scheme that has preached versatility from the day the new coordinator walked in the door. And third, maybe most importantly, the disruptive, attacking nature of this defense fits his body type and his game like a glove. At roughly 280 pounds, he's not built to be a traditional two-gap space eater. Reading and reacting, holding his ground and waiting to see where the ball goes. He's built to be a one-gap penetrator, get skinny, shoot his gap, get vertical, and disrupt the play before it even fully develops. Even against the run, his job essentially becomes a pass-rushing rep in disguise, attacking downhill instead of sitting back and reading. And when you surround a player like that with an aggressive scheme full of blitzing linebackers and fast, attacking safeties, that's when everybody on that unit starts feeding off each other. This veteran fits right into the middle of that identity. Now, for the third and final name on this list, and this one is admittedly the biggest projection of the group. A converted wide receiver turned linebacker, standing 6'3", checking in a little over 220 pounds at the combine, but currently listed a bit heavier now, which tracks. Most guys add a little armor once they get into an NFL strength program. He ran an eye-popping 40 time, posted strong vertical and broad jump numbers, and walked away with a relative athletic score that puts him firmly in elite testing territory. Here's the catch, though. He barely saw the field on defense last season, mostly grinding away on special teams, and only really started flashing on tape toward the very end of the year. There isn't a massive sample size to lean on here, but what is there is intriguing. In college, he was an effective blitzer, generating pressure on roughly a quarter of his pass rushing snaps, a strong rate even if the volume wasn't huge. The problem, and it's a real one, is that he also missed an eye-popping percentage of his tackles in his final collegiate season, north of a quarter of his attempts. That is a genuinely alarming number for a linebacker. Borderline disqualifying if it doesn't get fixed. The good news, tackling is widely considered one of the most teachable, coachable skills at the NFL level, and by every account, this kid is eager to learn and put in the work. If this coaching staff can clean up his technique and sharpen the mental side of his game, reading plays quickly and fitting runs correctly, there's a real path for him to actually see the field. The best home for him early on is probably in those wide-open, pass-heavy sub-package looks, 7 or 8 defenders spread out across the formation, using his blend of speed, blitzing ability, and his old receiver instincts for playing in space. It wouldn't be a starting role, and to be completely transparent, it's not even a lock he makes the 53-man roster, given how deep this group is. But there's a legitimate scenario where training camp reps start opening eyes, and suddenly a name nobody outside the building was talking about starts carving out a real specialist role on defense. So there you have it, 3 names that deserve a lot more attention than they're currently getting heading into training camp. A rookie running back who profiles as a red zone weapon hiding in plain sight, a veteran defensive lineman who's finally healthy again and stepping into total clarity about his role for the first time in years, and a converted linebacker with off-the-charts athletic tools trying to turn potential into an actual role on Sundays. None of these guys are the headline of training camp, but all 3 of them could end up quietly shaping how good this team actually turns out to be. Now, here's my question for you, and I really want you to think about this one before you scroll away. Is there another player on this roster that you feel like everybody has slept on? Somebody you think deserves this exact same kind of breakdown? Drop that name down in the comment section right now, along with a quick reason why, because I read every single one, and honestly, some of the best video ideas on this channel have come directly from you guys pointing me towards somebody I wasn't giving enough credit. Before you go, if this breakdown gave you something to think about, do me a solid and hit that like button. And if you're new here, Go ahead and subscribe because we are on a real push right now to hit 1,000 subscribers, and every single person watching this video can help get us there. Turn on notifications too, because training camp is about to flood this channel with daily updates, position battles, practice reports, all of it. And you do not want to miss a single piece of it. Drop your thoughts in the comments, let me know which of these 3 names you're buying into the most, and I will see you in the next one. Hail to the Commanders.
Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers, and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.